Today we are going to take a closer look at our story, If the Shoe Fits, two Cinderella stories. So what you need to get is your My Book 2 out, and you need to turn to page 188. So this story is a fairy tale, and fairy tales are old stories with made-up characters and events that cannot have happened. So as you read the story this week, you need to look for clues that the stories are make-believe, if the endings are happy, and the problem in the story, and the solution, which is the answer to the question, or to the answer to the problem. So now get out your My Book 2 and turn to page 188. Now we are going to take a closer look at the Cinderella story and turn to page 190 and 191. And we are going to reread some of these pages. And we are going to look for the story structure. We need to look for the characters, the setting, and what's most important, we have to find the problem in the story or the conflict. What goes wrong with our character? And then we need to find out how it gets resolved or how that problem is solved. So let's look at 191. Randall had invited all his friends to his birthday party. His mom was baking a delicious chocolate cake. He hoped Zoe would come. She was one of his best friends. The next day, Finn and their mom left for Randall's party. The doorbell rang. It was Zoe's favorite neighbor, Mrs. Fortuna. She always sparkled. Want to go to the party? How did you know? I have a few secrets, dear. But the lawn, began Zoe. Mrs. Fortuna pulled bright red garden shears from her bag. To Zoe's amazement, the shears flew out of Mrs. Fortuna's hand. The lawn was mowed in seconds. Zoe was thrilled. She ran to get her favorite shoes, but Finn had hidden them. What will I wear? Mrs. Fortuna handed her a pair of golden tennis shoes. Zoe thought they were superb. On the way to Randall's house, one of Zoe's shoes came untied and tumbled onto the street. It was run over by a bus. My shoe, yelled Zoe. Mrs. Fortuna consoled her. Two shoes don't make wishes come true. Randall beamed when Zoe walked in. He invited her to sit next to him. Noticing her one shoe, he thought, this is something new. Then he said, cool, everyone take off one shoe, just like Zoe. It was time to cut the cake. The candles were lit, and before Randall blew them out, Zoe smiled. One of her wishes had come true. So now let's look at page 191. What is the conflict or the problem that our character Zoe has? Good, she wants to go to Randall's party, but she has to stay home and do chores. So that's our problem. Now summarize how the conflict is resolved and how the story ends. So tell me in your own words how the problem or the conflict was fixed or resolved, and then how the story ended. Good. Mrs. Fortuna helps her do her chores so she can go to the party. Randall notices that Zoe is only wearing one shoe and invites the others to take off a shoe too. So the ending was happy. Now we're going to take a look at our other Cinderella story and look at the story structure. So go ahead and turn to page 194 and look to the pages 198. If you need to go back and pause this video and find the video with the story and listen to it again, you can. Now let's take a closer look. So retell the main events of the story. So what happened at the beginning? So when you retell, you tell in your own words what happened in the story, and you think about the plot, the characters, the setting, what happened in the beginning, middle, and the end of the story. So what happened at the beginning of the story is that Kwan must weed the garden before she can go to the festival. So then what happened after that? What happens in the middle? Good. A cow eats the weeds and birds give her clothes. So she loses a shoe and then has to return home. But what happens at the end of the story? So a prince finds her shoe. He discovers that it is Kwan's, and they live happily ever after. So you just retold the beginning, middle, and end of the story. So today you found the problem in the story, how it was resolved, and then you found the beginning, middle, and end of the story. And all of those are parts of the story or a story structure. So thank you for watching, and use this video to help you in this week's activity.